Do you see any of the real Diana in Meghan? Did
God,
you?
no.
Really?
No.
Oh.
Sorry.
She used to charge almost $30,000 per trip.
Damn!
Which is why she was making good money. It wasn't on suits.
Wait a minute.
Back in her early days, she was totally reliant on Soho House to pay for her travel, to pay for her accommodation.
Picture yourself flipping through channels on a random Tuesday night when Piers Morgan suddenly whips out a collection of photos that look like they came straight from Meghan Markle's personal panic vault.
I don't want to be doing another bloody segment on Meghan Markle and Harry, right?
And in that instant, millions of people watching realize the whole victim narrative might actually be the biggest performance she's ever delivered.
And then the rest of it was, and all the racism claims turned out to be bullshit. The mental health claims were all of it was bullshit, designed to damage and attack the royal family, the monarchy, and all of it.
Look, Meghan's built an entire brand around being this down-to-earth girl just trying to make rent in LA. But those photos painted a wildly different picture, one where her social calendar looked less struggling actress and more exclusive billionaire events. And somehow, none of those connections ever came up in her humble journey interviews.
Once a Soho House basic bitch, always a Soho House basic bitch.
The moment those images hit the screen, you could practically see Meghan's entire public image start crumbling in real time. This wasn't just bad press. This was watching someone's carefully constructed identity fall apart piece by piece.
Are there any fans of Meghan Markle in tonight? Oh, hang on. There is one lone hand has raised
Subversive.
up here. Actually, that is one more than I expected, I have to be honest.
And here's what kills me. For someone who constantly claims transparency, Meghan's got a pretty impressive track record of making inconvenient things disappear. Old social media posts, gone. Photos from certain parties, wiped. People who knew her back then, radio silence. And now the one piece of evidence her team was probably losing sleep over just got broadcast to the entire world.
It was planned from the beginning. She denied being interested in the royal family, which she totally was. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on it.
The truth didn't trickle out, it exploded. And the wildest part, Piers didn't even need dramatic commentary. The photos did all the heavy lifting. So buckle up, because this goes way deeper than royal gossip. We're talking calculated networking, a habit of dumping people the moment they stop being useful, and a history she's desperately tried to bury. And trust me, we're just getting started.
It makes them newsworthy. So you either then ignore what people are talking about and debating and having all the silly stuff about them.
The studio lights were already warm when Piers Morgan leaned forward, reached for those glossy images, and basically set off a media bomb in real time. There was no dramatic buildup, no theatrical pause. He just held them up with this ice-cold, deliberate calm that somehow made the whole moment feel 10 times more devastating. Like he'd been sitting on this for years and finally got his chance to drop it. And the reaction was instant chaos. Social media went absolutely nuclear within seconds. Hashtags were forming faster than the producers could even process what was happening, and clips of the moment were racking up millions of views before the broadcast even wrapped.
And she's living the life she probably wanted all along.
Yes.
A life of unparalleled luxury and riches that she got by marrying her handsome British prince. She's living back in the state that she came from.
Here's the thing though, these weren't just random snapshots from some forgotten college party or a casual night out with friends. What made them so explosive was the lifestyle they revealed. A world of exclusivity, privilege, and access that didn't remotely match the modest, struggling actress in Hollywood story Meghan's been feeding people for years. We're talking elite settings, powerful circles, and a level of connection that doesn't just happen by accident. The kind that requires strategy, networking, and let's be real, probably a lot more than just showing up to auditions and hoping for a big break. The internet picked up on it immediately. People started connecting dots, pulling up old timelines, asking questions that suddenly didn't have clean answers. But what really made these photos explosive wasn't just what they showed, it was what they implied about everything she'd been hiding.
You know, this is what Meghan has been doing. She's a piece of Klingon, you know, like she clings to somebody who can get her there. So Meghan manages to befriend one person of a very popular group, and then that person introduces her to the others. And because that she's being brought in by somebody they trust, she's welcomed.
What made her legal team's silence even stranger was the fact that these are the same people who've sued over a handwritten letter and attacked every bad headline. But photos that contradict her entire story, nothing. No denials, no outrage, just dead silence. And when someone who normally treats the press like a war zone suddenly goes quiet, that silence says everything. But the real story wasn't what the photos revealed. It was who leaked them. Long before Meghan became a global sensation, she met Piers Morgan for drinks at a Kensington pub. He thought they'd hit it off, but within 24 hours, she ghosted him completely. The next evening, she was photographed with Prince Harry at Soho House, stepping into a world far more powerful than anything Piers could offer. That moment planted a grudge that quietly festered for years. The Oprah interview was the breaking point. Meghan's claims triggered Piers into full attack mode, sparking a firestorm that ended with him walking off Good Morning Britain. But what made it personal? Reports surfaced that Meghan herself filed a complaint against him.
But 57,000 people complained to the television regulator, Ofcom, in the UK. A world record, I'm proud to say, complained about me for not believing Princess Pinocchio. And eventually my boss had said, can you just apologize to Meghan Markle, or you're going to have to, maybe lose your job. I went, I'll take the job option, thanks, I'll leave. And I walked off into the sunset.
For Piers, those leaked images weren't just content for another segment. They were ammunition in a battle he never wanted but felt completely justified fighting. A battle against someone he believed had weaponized public sympathy while systematically erasing every inconvenient truth about her past. But here's the thing, Piers wasn't the only person with access to these kinds of damaging images. There's another name that keeps appearing quietly in the background of Meghan's rise, and most people outside elite circles have never even heard of him. Marcus Anderson, the global membership director of Soho House. While Meghan has always publicly framed their bond as a simple friendship, the patterns told a very different story. Marcus wasn't just some casual companion. He seemed to function like a shadow guide, somehow appearing in every single city Meghan relocated to. Toronto, London, Los Angeles, almost like his career path conveniently aligned with hers at every critical moment. And with his position came serious access, not just to the exclusive lounges and private parties, but to the confidential archives, the behind-the-scenes photographs, the guest lists that never reach public eyes.
He knows, and everybody all around the world, that you would want to know. The very rich, the very connected. Anybody who is anybody would be in Marcus Anderson's little black book. And he's never betrayed a confidence. He's never made a slip.
For someone trying to carefully manage their public identity, having a gatekeeper like Marcus wasn't just helpful, it was transformative. Rumors quietly circulated that he wasn't merely a friend, but a strategist. Someone who understood exactly how powerful social environments could reposition a mid-level actress into circles occupied by millionaires, influencers, and eventually royalty itself. The unsettling part, many of the leaked images Piers showcased appeared to come from settings that only Marcus or someone in his immediate proximity would have had access to. If that's true, it raises a pretty dark question. Had someone inside her most trusted circle finally decided to expose the truth she'd worked so hard to manage? And if Marcus wasn't the source, then someone with comparable access was playing a game far bigger than personal loyalty. And those photos, they reignited the one rumor about Meghan's past that absolutely refuses to die. As the leaked photos circulated, another thread of Meghan's past began resurfacing online. The long whispered yacht rumors that had followed her for years but never fully broke into mainstream discussion. These stories didn't paint her as a desperate actress grinding through auditions, but as someone moving through ultra-wealthy, invitation-only circles where private yachts served as floating networking hubs for businessmen, social elites, and rising actresses looking for opportunities beyond Hollywood's traditional ladder. Several documentaries and online investigators highlighted a pattern in which actresses were flown to exclusive events under the guise of hospitality, and Meghan's name kept appearing around those discussions.
And here we have Andrew, with whom looks like Marcus Anderson. This is in 2001 when Meghan Markle would have allegedly been on third year. Meghan Markle hardly spent any time at Northwestern University. According to people, she got started her yachting days, and she never stopped really. I don't think any of her boyfriends knew about it, but Meghan Markle was known as a hardcore yacht partying person, ready for anything.
While some viral photos claiming to show her on certain yachts were later identified as other women, enough timelines, locations, and anonymous accounts aligned closely enough to keep the speculation alive. And that's what fueled the public frenzy. The idea that Meghan's sudden access to elite travel, luxury vacations, and first-class experiences didn't match the modest lifestyle she's repeatedly marketed. If she truly was struggling, how did she afford summers in Mediterranean hotspots? Who funded the trips? Why were some of the same men seen around her in those older images connected to yacht gatherings known for high-stakes social matchmaking? These weren't accusations pulled out of thin air. They were questions revived by the context of Piers' leaked photos. Questions that made Meghan's carefully shaped public narrative wobble. And just when it seemed the speculation couldn't get any more intense, Prince Harry himself accidentally handed critics exactly what they needed. When Prince Harry released Spare, he likely intended to present a vulnerable, intimate portrait of their love story, not hand critics a roadmap to the parts of Meghan's past she preferred to keep blurry. Yet, that's exactly what happened. In several passages, Harry casually mentions that Meghan treated Soho House like a personal sanctuary, a place she relied on so heavily it almost functioned as a second home. He describes their early dates, private dinners, hidden corners where they met discreetly, and the staff who seemed unusually familiar with her routines. For most couples, these details would feel romantic, but for Meghan, they raised a glaring contradiction. She'd repeatedly insisted she barely used the club and only chose it for convenience. Yet, Harry's recollections portrayed a woman deeply rooted in that world long before they met.
Harry, who's that standing next to the Queen? Is that a servant? That's what Harry wrote in his book Spare. How stupid is this man that he actually believes it? Or is it that he wanted to believe it?
That single inconsistency reignited every question surrounding her sudden leap from mid-level actress to global figure moving through the most exclusive social circles on the planet. How did she gain such deep access to a club famous for rejecting even top-tier celebrities? Why were her social circles so polished, so affluent, so strategically connected? Readers found themselves noticing patterns Meghan never addressed. And Harry, unintentionally or not, revealed far more than he realized. His sincerity worked against her calculated image, creating a sharp contrast between the humble persona she promoted and the lifestyle hinted at within his pages. And when critics connected those memoir details to the leaked photos Piers displayed, the narrative took an even sharper turn because Meghan's response to all of this, absolute deliberate silence. For a public figure who's built an entire brand around controlling her narrative, Meghan's reaction to the leaked images, or rather her complete lack of one, became the loudest alarm bell of all. This is the same woman who took tabloids to court over a private letter, who issued rapid-fire statements over misquotes, lighting choices, even podcast misunderstandings. Yet when photos emerged that allegedly contradicted the very story she's told the world for years, Meghan didn't release a denial, a clarification, or even the typical sources close to Meghan rebuttal. Instead, she vanished behind a wall of silence, so calculated it almost felt like confirmation. The public noticed instantly. If the photos were fake, why not call them out? If they were misrepresented, why not correct the record? Her team has never hesitated to challenge narratives far less damaging than this. So the sudden quiet created a vacuum that exploded with speculation.
She'd been a deal or no deal girl, and she was calling herself a model, and she was starring in a show Suits. She used to charge almost $30,000 per trip, which is why she was making good money. It wasn't on Suits, it was on her yachting trips, because that's where the money was.
Analysts pointed out that responding might inadvertently authenticate the images, while others suggested the Sussex PR machine was overwhelmed, trying to decide whether the bigger risk was addressing the leaks or ignoring them. But ignoring them didn't neutralize anything, it magnified the mystery. And as more people scrutinized the inconsistencies, a deeper pattern of reinvention began to reveal itself. Long before she stepped into royal life, Meghan had already rewritten herself multiple times, shedding old identities whenever they no longer served her ambitions. Her early blog era vanished almost overnight, along with references to relationships and lifestyle choices that clashed with her polished Duchess persona. The Soho House era refused to stay buried because it represented a version of Meghan that simply didn't fit the ordinary girl who fell in love with the prince storyline. And that's why these leaks felt different. They weren't just embarrassing snapshots. They were proof that Meghan's past isn't missing. It's been meticulously edited. And as this latest wave of leaked photos, resurfaced connections, and glaring contradictions sweeps across the internet, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Meghan's past isn't haunting her because people are obsessed. It's haunting her because none of the reinventions ever fully erased the version of herself she hoped the world would forget. Every unanswered question, every silent denial, every fragment of an untold chapter only fuels more curiosity. And while Piers Morgan's on-air reveal may have cracked open the door, it's the patterns behind that door, the shifting stories, the vanished friends, the luxury access disguised as struggle that keep people digging deeper. So the real question is, what else is still hidden behind that carefully constructed image?